So people that overpronate and have flat feet often get all the attention, and people that have high arches are often left out of all the advice. So today I'm going to go over what causes high arches and 3 things that I do to address it. So I've got a little bit of a high arch. When you have a high arch, it can be caused by 3 different points. One would be if you have what we call forefoot valgus, which is where your big toe and the first ray of the big toe points down a little bit more. So if I exaggerate it, it is turned down a little bit this way. And then when your foot touches the ground, it compensates by popping that arch up to accommodate for that first ray. The second thing, which is easier to see, is if I look from behind somebody's calcaneus, if the back of their foot turns inward. As you can see, that easily raises the arch. The third one is going to be more in the midfoot, where sometimes people are stiff in their cuboid and their midfoot bones here, and that pulls the arch up as well. So regardless of what 3 points it is, the big event that happens is that this point here from your first ray to your heel gets shortened and the arch gets too high, and then it can't splay, it can't stretch out to get down. The specifics that I described are more important for me as a manual therapist or doing dry needling, but for other people, you can just generally hit this area and make a difference. So for mobility, I like to take a soft used tennis ball. So this is one of those beginner tennis balls that my kid plays with. Some people tend to use like a golf ball, but I feel like that's pretty aggressive and it can cause your muscles to unconsciously contract and almost protect. The golf ball is sometimes good for people that need that high input to modulate the pain. Sometimes that works, but by no means do I think most people need to do that. So I'll show you how to use this. All you got to do is hit 2 spots on your foot. So the first spot is you're just hitting the inside of that arch there, the part that I described that is too short. You're trying to prep that tissue so that it can splay out. And all you do is you get on the ball, you can stand up or put as much pressure, and you just slowly roll across there. Give it time for the tissue to adapt. You can hit the inner side of it along the muscles, the inside of it near the plantar fascia, and you can go slowly for a couple minutes. Once the inside of the foot is rolled out, what I do is I put the ball on the outside of the foot here, and then I put all my weight on it. And for this one, since it's going to hit the joints of the midfoot, I'm going to let this settle down and ease down for a couple minutes. I'm going to stand here and let my joints slowly melt open, which, as you can see, already puts my foot flat. So if my foot's not on the ball, the arch is up. Immediately as you go on the ball, it will dump that arch in, flatten out the arch, and help open up the midfoot. The next spot to hit is going to be the big toe. The big toe often gets stiff in people with high arches and can help prevent people from loading into that midfoot and pronating. So there's 2 ways to do it. First, you can go up against the wall and get a calf stretch and lean into it. But here with my toe in this position, I will also get a toe stretch. The key is to make sure that high arch doesn't push you on the outside. You need to really load the big toe to get that big toe stretch. If you want it more isolated to the big toe, you just push the whole foot down on the ground. I'll do it with my right foot so that you can see. So you keep that first ray down, so that way the toe gets a stretch. And you can work on holding that for 30 to 90 seconds. That would be the wall stretch. And you might feel a little bit more muscles in the back of your leg working. And then after doing all that prep, you want to load it. So calf raise is a great way to load those tissues. So to make sure you keep a non-supinated position, you need to load the big toe while you do your calf raise. If you go up with high arches, it often pushes you to the outside and further just reinforces that pattern. So starting with 2 and slowly loading those tissues and loading that big toe will help mobilize that arch. Eventually you want to get to the point where you can do a single leg calf raise, and I would aim for 2 to 3 sets of 15 to 25 reps. So there's a lot more complexity to this. Sometimes it goes into hip internal rotation, even what's going on at the trunk. Manual therapy and dry needling can make a big difference. But those are just 3 things that you can start with, you can do on your own, that might help open up your foot and change the patterns so that it becomes a little bit more adaptable to forces.